Don't you know that I have known you? There I am inside each breath you take, and my arms are everywhere you are. I'll carry you, I'll stand the test of time for you, feeling. I am a rock, I am no place of salvation. I am your strength, I am the hand that you hold on to. I am the voice that is always saying, I will give you rest. I will give you rest. I am known by many things to some, but what is real is that I'm the only one. And my arms are always where you are. I have carried you, I have stood the test of time for you. Feel me loving. I am the rock, I am your place of salvation. I am the strength, I am the hand that you hold on to. I am the voice that is always saying, I will give you rest. Are ye heavy laden? Come, are ye heavy laden? I will give you rest. Are ye heavy laden? Come, are ye heavy laden? God is rock, God is your place of salvation. God is your strength, God is the hand that you hold on to. God is the voice that is always saying, no, I will give you.
That song so much. It's a wonderful song. It's a great song. The lights have been a magic show. If you came for the experience of sound and light, we've got it going on here. We good? Sure. From the light booth comes the word, sure. Thank you, Ellen, for making things work. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sam, for making things work. We appreciate it. Thanks, Ward. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for being here on a Sunday morning at Unity Skagit Valley. We reach out to those who are here and those who are not with our wide open hearts saying, welcome. We welcome you with love and in the spirit of unity, in the whole spirit of unity. It's always our pleasure to greet those of you online. We don't know where you are this morning or when you'll hear this broadcast, but whenever it is, may it be a blessing for you in your life. We're grateful for all the ways in which Spirit cares for us. In so many ways, we think that when something shifts or changes, that it will affect us in negative ways. But in truth, it's not so. Things change, and it's always to our benefit, for our opportunity, for our growth, for our way of deepening our spiritual realization. But more than that, it's the way of life. You can't avoid it. You cannot avoid it. In life, in death, and the beyond, in all our lifetimes, however many there have been, the one constancy is growth, and the one continuing process is transformation. We are always growing, we are always transforming, and in that is always an experience of greater good. We don't know what it looks like, we don't know what it means, but it's in there, and in right time, under right circumstances, it reveals itself to us. We have a birthday this morning. Maybe we have more than one. Anybody else have a February birthday? Then this person I'm going to point to. You ready to sing, friends? All right. Here we go. Many more. You didn't hear that. Louise said when her mother turned 100, she sang to herself. Yeah, tomorrow it could happen, right? Yeah. And the flowers this morning are from Louise, are from her family to her, with love on her birthday. Exquisite roses. So thank you for sharing with us. So as we greet you in the warm and loving spirit of unity, as always, we affirm our oneness with all of life. We mean, when we say all of life, it doesn't mean just the part we like. It doesn't edit out the things we have opinions about. When we talk about oneness, we mean all of life, one perfect whole. One perfect whole, filled with one power, one presence, one everywhere present substance of wholeness and infinite possibility. One power, one presence of the reality of love itself. One light source, one breath, breathing us in and out at all times. The experience of knowing that we're being breathed in and out at all times as part of this infinite oneness. And we say, well, yeah, but couldn't we just have a little less of that and a little more of this? And then we say that oneness is perfection itself. It is the presence of life, the presence of, we say, all good. And we believe that. I'm looking at our beautiful baby guest this morning, and I'm thinking, he doesn't know anything but perfection. No, you don't know anything but perfection. And the reality of that is, until we allow ourselves to take on a whole lot of other ideas, that's our nature. The perfection we find in him, the perfection he knows for himself, is the same perfection true for us all. And so, with innocence in our hearts and a desire to do good in our world, we gather on this Sunday morning in love. It's Sunday, February 20, and the word for today is inspiration. Heather, would you read our daily word for us? I'm grateful.
I didn't trip.
No, you didn't trip. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Ooh.
Welcome. It's wonderful to see all of you. Today's word is inspiration. I am grateful to those who inspire me. I admire and respect the sacred calling and work of innovative and groundbreaking thinkers and leaders. The work they have done to forge new paths and heal humanity in new directions inspires me. I've heard inspiration described as the breath of God, an inner quickening. This quickening is mine as I forge new paths and boldly journey forward, creating life anew. To keep divine inspiration flowing, I make time to rest in contemplative stillness. I begin each day with a prayer for a receptive mind and heart. I pray for the courage and clarity to release my rigid expectations. I live in a state of gratitude for the inspiration that flows from God and the opportunity to share it. Then the Lord formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Genesis 2:7. I am grateful for those who inspire me.
Thank you. Yay. Yeah. There's so much to that story that comes after Genesis 2:7. There is so much to be found there, and when we read it, we we have to stop and break that down into what we can comprehend on a spiritual level, because it is the work of exploring consciousness, our consciousness. It's not just the edict of divine source writing. It's the answer to the questions, the baseline questions of life. How did we get here? How is it safe here? Do I belong here? What happened? How did we come from there to this? And what came before? The answer is the question that we form in life, and it's the question that most everyone forms in life. And so it's a work of consciousness, that statement. And every time I hear it, I think, ooh, I wish we could rewrite all of that. And if we did, there'd be so many people to say, no, don't touch it. Just don't touch it. It is the way it is. Don't touch it. Yeah. Announcements this morning. The memorial circle for Mike Gow will not be happening on the 5th of March. Please let people know that. And if it's in your calendar, you can take that out for now. And we'll let you know about plans. And there's always time for a celebration. There's always time for lighting a candle, and there's always time for sharing a story. So if you have Mike's stories, be sure and share them with each other. The obituary for John is a wonderful tribute to John and to the family, and remind me where that can be found.
Should have been
in this morning's Herald?
Yes.
Okay. And before that, it was on the website of Hawthorne.
It will remain there. There's also a guest book if anybody wants to sign it. And we have no plans right now for a memorial service
Yeah.
for his interment, because our daughter Cynthia is having surgery on the 1st of March.
Okay.
So it'll probably be this summer.
This summer's a wonderful time. Yeah. So Hawthorne has a legacy site. The obituary is posted there. It's in the Herald. It's a wonderful tribute to John and all his accomplishments, and to the family as well. Our prayer ministers pray with you. They want to. It's a calling. They dedicate themselves to praying with you. So when you submit a prayer request, either through unitysv.org, it's info@unitysv.org, it comes directly to the prayer ministers. And if you're in the room and have a prayer request, the prayer box is on the credenza, and there are prayer slips there for you. The pleasure of prayer is served up for you by our 5 or 6 prayer team members, and they really mean it. They're here to pray with you. So don't hold things back. Just offer it in prayer. Lose your keys, find them that way. Give it a test. Test it out. See the power of prayer. I'm kidding, of course. If you're me, it works. It really works. Nothing too big or nothing too small is what I actually meant by that. Jerry and Beth are having a great time in Ahihi. And Jerry was on a YouTube segment about why they're there and what they're about. Jerry was fabulous. He was just fabulous. He was like just this incredible spokesperson for their experience, and they love that place. They love that place. So anyway, they're having a great time, and I know they're thinking of us this morning. I'm sure they're thinking of us this morning. I can't imagine they wouldn't be thinking of us this morning. So, yeah. So anyway, we miss him, and we miss Beth, and they'll be back before we know it. Anything else I should announce this morning?
The new daily words are here.
Oh, yay. New daily words are here. Yes. Great. Wonderful. So if you need a daily word, we've got them over there in the basket. There's also coffee, I think, in the drawer for those of you who use the coffee that benefits Friendship House. There's coffee for you. So those are all the announcements I have. Ward, is there anything else for you? Anybody? Anything exciting?
What is this name thing to fill out if you want to be on?
They're reworking the directory. Perhaps, I don't know why it's on your chair, but I know it's out front. If you've got an update for the mailing list or the email list, fill it out. Or if you're new. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you for asking. That's it for that. And so let's do our thing. Let's do our thing. I'm so reverent. Have you noticed? I like being formal, and I put on this scarf today and I thought, oh my God, I look like a priest for a minute. Like I had it down. I look like I have my prayer shawl on or something. I was like, oh no, that didn't work. Wrap it around your neck. Yeah. I aspire to be a holy woman. Let's just say it that way. Let me read you this. This comes from Sounds of the Eternal, a Celtic psalter. And it's such a beautiful opening prayer. In the temple of my inner being, in the temple of my body, in the temple of earth sea, and sky. In the great temple of the universe, I look for the light that was in the beginning, the mighty fire that blazes still from the heart of life, glowing in the whiteness of the moon, glistening in night stars, hidden in the black earth, concealed in unknown depths of my soul, in the darkness of the night, in the shadows of my being. O God, let me glimpse the eternal in both the light and the shadows of my being. Let me glimpse the glow of the eternal. Let me glimpse the eternal in both the light and the shadows of my being. So, think of it for a moment. Let me glimpse the eternal in both the light and the shadows of my being, the parts that I own and the parts I disown. Let me glimpse the glow of the eternal. What a wonderful thing to aspire to. Let me glimpse the glow of the eternal in the temple of my inner being. What a wonderful, wonderful prayer. So, let us still ourselves.
Right.
Thank you. What is it that you bring to prayer this day? What is it in the deep place of your heart? Is it gratitude? Is it well-being? Is it a sadness? What do you bring to place on the altar of spirit here in the midst of your being? The altar of spirit in the temple of your inmost self. Yeah. Yes. Do you bring joy or a smile or something that's precious to you? Place it on the altar within you. Allow Spirit to do the holy work. The holy work that is present in you to heal and bless you, to restore and renew you, to turn up the flame of light within you. And hear the words once again. Peace. Peace be unto you. Peace be within you and throughout your being. Peace be beneath you. Peace be above you. Peace be before you. Peace be behind you. peace be beside you. Peace be unto you. Open your heart by breathing deeply into your heart center. Peace. Peace, the flowing forth of peace. Filling every aspect of your being. There may be things to do. There may be things you're still holding from yesterday. But for this moment, allow yourself the gift of peace. Peace. My peace I give unto you. Let not your heart be troubled. As we take in not just the words, but the energy of that message, the things that have troubled us can be breathed away. For there is a deep assurance present. There is a deep, abiding, gentle movement of peace. Allow yourself the gift. Breathe. Breathe into the depth of your being and let go. Just for a moment, set yourself free. We call upon the light that guides you, that reveals to you the way. You are on the path. Spirit is in each step, but more than that, the inspiration that guides every aspect of your journey. We call upon the force of life itself to sustain you and bless you, to enfold you, to heal you. And it moves through you gently but powerfully. welcome it. We lift our eyes and see that the Holy One is at work. The Holy One in the midst of you is assembling puzzle pieces and somehow choreographing that you, Blessed One, find yourself in the grace of a deep peace. We pause for that moment we've taken just to remember that this is how it always is. And we give thanks for the presence that is always revealing itself in every aspect of our lives. Peace, I say. Peace. We are grateful. We are amazingly blessed. So much good is present. And for this, we open our hearts and share this blessing of love that we've received with all others. Be at peace. Be at peace. Be in peace. And so it is. Amen.
Kim selected this song today, and she sends her love to all of you. Look over yonder, what do you see? The sun is arising, most definitely. A new day is coming, people are changing. Ain't it beautiful? Crystal blue persuasion. Better get ready, gonna see the light. Love is the answer, and that's alright. So don't you give up now, so easy to find. Just look to your soul and open your mind. Crystal blue persuasion, it's a new vibration. Crystal blue persuasion, crystal blue persuasion. Maybe tomorrow, when he looks down on every green field in every town, all of his children, every nation, There'll be peace and good brotherhood. Crystal blue persuasion. Crystal blue persuasion.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yay. Yeah. Sounds like somewhere you'd like to go. Yeah. We're here. Takes a minute to come back from meditation, doesn't it? Yeah. When do you remember your first clear intuitive experience? When did that happen for you? How old were you? How old? It's a give and take. You don't remember. Was it always that way? I'm asking.
I was 7.
You were 7? Was it always that way? That you had some inner knowing that you could act on or saw to be true? 6 or 7. Yeah. Yeah, see, then we forget we knew that, or did we hold on to that? I don't remember that early point in time. What I remember is wanting that so much when I started waking up. If that was happening in me, I was really unconscious of it. That intuitive sense. And then all of a sudden, somebody mentioned the possibility of that. And I was like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. People started talking about ESP. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. It was like, how do you get that? How do you get that? Where is that? How do people do that? And nobody said, oh, I have these intuitive insights, or there's a voice in me, or I see things in ways that other people don't seem to see them. My friend Martha said she was 3 when she looked around the room and said, I'm the oldest person in this room. And yeah, that, not just intuitive as in projected insight, but intuitive even in that way, looking at the world and going, this doesn't make sense to me. Having an intuitive sense of how things fit together. And then practicing. All of a sudden, finding a spiritual path that encouraged inner listening, that there was a voice in you, there's the power, the presence, the guidance is within you, and it's here for the having, for the one who would listen, But we didn't even know what we were listening for. We just all of a sudden were like, this is a big deal. This is another possibility. This is another dimension to reach into for information. And then doing things to foster that more. Getting into religious science and then into unity. And meeting people who taught you how to see like that. See auras. Oh my God, white screen behind you, people standing there looking at the color show that was going on. Light and color, just emanating from people. Do you remember? Of course you remember. That sense of astonishment that we were somehow electrified and not just solid beings, that this something that was happening in us was measurable and visible under the right circumstances. And still, you put somebody in front of a white screen and watch them for a few minutes, they'll light up like a light show. Light goes up and, here it's green and then it's blue and then kind of that wonderful transparent aqua blue. Sometimes you get and sometimes it's darker and sometimes it's lighter, and it's really a beautiful thing. And then you're in a room full of people, and all of a sudden you can feel people's energy. Like, wow, you can really get them on a level that's not just intellectual, but somehow you just get it, and you can feel it, and you sense it. And more than that, things are revealed to you that you wouldn't even have words for, wouldn't even know. They're just there. And you think, well, how does this work? How does this work? That it's like that. And then trainings, wonderful trainings that suddenly opened aspects of the self, or teachers who had really radiant light beams coming off of them, turn into golden light in front of you. It was like, whoa, life's a magic show. And yet still not aware that we were in a world of beingness that was revealing to us all of these layers of wonder, and that it was unstoppable. Because it's that spiritual knowing, it's spiritual realization, it's that constancy, and it seems to come from everywhere. You were thinking about something, and then you see 3 confirmations of it. It's like that's the magic number. That's the sign for the magic number. 3 confirmations, that's the one. Don't miss that one. Go back, get it, take advantage of it quick. A book, you see it here, you see it there, you see it over there, you think it's inevitable. I can't miss it. Or you have an idea, and it's one of those ideas that just suddenly is present, and it means something, and you drink it, and you chew on it, and it opens doors, and then perhaps you're aware that you were always not tuned in, but a receptor, I had the word this morning, and not channel, not that word, a conduit for the constancy of divine wisdom to be at work in and through us, bringing forth into form that which has been formless, bringing into being connections and ways of experiencing life that seem to be unstoppable. And we greet them and we think we're a little abnormal. We don't tell our Christian friends about it much, do we? And they certainly never told us. And I have a dear friend, and sometimes you tell the truth about something because you have to, but other people don't get it. It's like, no, I don't think so. So when I went to Ecuador many years ago on my first sabbatical independent journey, it was like guidance just fell into place for me. I knew where to go. At least the country I knew I knew the significance of this. This was a journey that would change me forever, and it did. And more than that, it had to be far enough away that it wasn't like being home. It had to be something totally different that would continue to push me up against new ways of learning and seeing. And I had read something in one of Jack Kornfield's books, and it was about following your feet instead of mapping your journey. It was about following your feet, listening to your innate inner wisdom, and letting that move you. That it would be more physical than mental many times, because your body would lean in a particular direction if you would just be wide open to it, and it would take you that way. Or look at a map and know that you were being drawn to one thing or another, and not knowing why, and not knowing what it meant, and not having any expectation, just getting on the bus and going to that place, and then leaning into what would come of that. And it was a very solitary journey. In the beginning, it was just brutal, brutal because I'd never done anything in that way before. My language skills were not at that point really established, my Spanish language skills. And so I went to school for the first 3 weeks to try to ground myself. But I would just walk the streets, it was like, I don't mean street walking wouldn't have been my best profession. So not a good choice, but walking, just letting my feet take me, and seeing what I didn't want to see and seeing what I did want to see, and not knowing it, and visiting something that just occurred. Someone would say something, and I'd listen, and my body would go that way, and that's what I do. So I did that for 3 full months in Ecuador, and ended up in the jungle, in places in the dark of the night, not knowing anybody and not knowing where to go, and discovering that innately I knew where to go. I knew what to do. How do you know? That you can't describe how you know. You know that all of a sudden you're walking this way and you're where it seemed you were headed. And in the dark of the night in a jungle town on the Amazon River, it sounds glorious, doesn't it? Mud up to practically my knees, because I'm not very tall, if you hadn't noticed. So, mud everywhere, literally, the middle of the night. One cab, the driver sleeping. I asked for the hotel I was supposed to go to. They didn't have a place for me there. I made a reservation, didn't happen. So now I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? And walked to the taxi and said, is there any other hotel? And he kind of pointed over his shoulder, and I went, okay, I guess I'll go that way. He wasn't going to take me. And I did. And it was terrible. It was terrible. It was like the worst hotel room. I've been in a lot of bad hotels, I can tell you that, but that one was the worst of the worst. It was about the size of the linen closet, But at 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke to the sound of gunfire, because across the way was a military base, and they were doing their morning wake-up gunfire rounds. I'm telling you, I was out of that room so fast. But the reality is, I was somewhere, and there was a roof over my head. And when I realized what it was, I wasn't afraid anymore. It was like, guidance brought me here. Guidance. Like, do I have no control over my life? Am I? What does that mean, guidance? Well, I've used my guidance to support my impulse a great deal of my life. My impulses, what I most wanted, or my personal will, how I thought things should be. Pure guidance is available in that regard as a movement in and through us. This constancy of an available movement of the very flow of the cycle of energy in our lives. And as you learn to feel into it in the experience of your own lives, and as you learn to feel into it, you know what happens when it's your will that you substitute for guidance. It becomes hard. It becomes difficult. It becomes rocky. On the other hand, if you only move to guidance, it's easy to substitute what's somewhere else for what's arising in here. How do you reconcile those worlds to be in the flow of the energy that is the very core central aspect of who you are in its constancy? And how do you listen to that without overriding it all the time? By doing your day knowing that guidance is present in the totality of the day, and what's really erupting that, or the flow of that, is the mental process that substitutes this sense of safety, well-being, fear, obligation, what people want, what people don't want. If we go back to Genesis, because we've been looking at creative process, part of the creative process is learning that we live in this undefinable, indefinable, I don't know which. We live in this something that cannot be spoken, that Charles Fillmore, Myrtle Fillmore alluded to, called the ethers. Then as progression through science and understanding began to arise for us, somebody called it the quantum field, or quantum physics, or however we begin to work with that. And we suddenly had an understanding that we're in relationship with the universe in a way, I don't even like to use the word universe anymore. It's too small. They've taken us too far scientifically to be able to use words like the universe as though that's the entirety of this process in which we live and move and have being. How many universes? How many eruptions of states of being are occurring daily in this vast, indescribable somethingness that's within and beyond our ability to understand. And yet the same seeming truths apply, that there is one fundamental substance that is present in and through all of these worlds and universes and galaxies. There's this somethingness that is present as the basis that is behind and within all aspects of this that is beyond measure. And that it's an electrifying, creative energy that we can call substance and source and beingness itself, and we're made of that. And the communication is not determined simply between us, but in this vastness, the communication is infinite. And I forgot to swallow. It's too. Well, how do we even take in what it is that's part of us and that we are part of in this experience we call consciousness or life? Charles Fillmore talked about life as form and substance. Form and substance. Substance coming into form constantly. And the inspiration of that form coming into being from pure substance moves in and through us all the time when we have an openness to it. And the reality of it becomes a kind of perfection in our lives that leads us in these ways that stun and amaze us. It's like, what? How did that happen? It seems so small. All you did was pick up that cup and put it in the cupboard. When you saw what was behind it and you thought, I've been looking for that for months. In that moment, just a simple action that you didn't even make choice about. And there it was again. All you did was X, Y, Z, and then we see the other substitutions for inspiration or clarity or guidance, and we remember the marriages that came and went, and we remember the choices and decisions we made, and then went, "Ooh, what was that about?" Well, they have their own right order. We can't call them accidents or mistakes, but later we look at it and go, I could have used a V8 or a slap in the face, And your mother tried to tell you because everybody around you knew, but there was a shut-off there. I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to know that. So I love this story. It comes from something I've had for a long time about how it flows in us. This woman's name is Shireen Stricker, and it says, here's the story. Shireen Stricker is standing motionless in the middle of a large field, surrounded by 600 people. The gorgeous landscape under the mist of powerful Mount Rainier, probably at Crystal Mountain, right? In the upper northwest of the United States is invisible to her. She's blindfolded, as are all the others in the field. All the 600 people are blindfolded. That morning, they all made a drawing. The hundreds of drawings are now hanging on the fence along the edge of the field. The assignment, blindfolded, find your own drawing. Shireen does a meditation exercise, listens, pictures her drawing, and thinks, I am the creator of the drawing and the spectator. I only have to become one with it, with the drawing, and it will automatically pull me toward it. Such coaching in that. I only have to do a little settling. I only have to become one with it, because I know it. And it will automatically pull me toward it. And then, without bumping into anyone, she walks straight across the field and picks out her drawing straight away from among the 600. Like a magnet. Coincidence? The writer asks. Pure luck? You'd think so. But she was not the only one to perform this implausible act that day. Not all 600, but many. And you think, well, of course. I mean, look at you. I know you. You go, yeah, of course. Why? Because we already know we're one, and we already know we're in guidance, and we already know that the truth is that we are indissolubly connected to everything that is. And the result of that is we have a constant communication process going on that when we can get our heads out of the way, or whatever you want to say about that, allows us not just the inspiration but the impetus to move toward exactly what we need when we need it. And you can feel it in your body. You might get a message and you're gonna consider that perhaps, but it's present within you, and what blocks it is fear, willfulness, the ego mind that wants to always be right and depend on what I've always known to be absolutely the only truth there could possibly ever be. Because I know what I know. That'll block it. I know what I know. I know what to do and I do it. Can be a positive affirmation. Or it can be a statement of ego mind saying, I don't have to listen. I don't need to do that. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered into one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. Earth and heaven, the creative process within us, form, the capacity to create and manifest in keeping with the perfection of divine order, is engineered in the midst of us. And its spiritual wisdom, the heavens, the spiritual knowing, the heavens, in its infinite supply, that is always revealing itself. It might take a little while. It might not show up the way we, even as we let it go, thought it would show up. Because we knew something was happening. We can't know what that looks like when it actually manifests. In the quantum field, Deepak Chopra said, there are probability amplitudes. Probability amplitudes. As though there are ways we respond to things that are different than the way other people respond to things. And he explained it this way. It's a snowy day. One person tunes in or doesn't, whatever, and decides, well, I'm gonna get the snowblower and clean things off. And breaks his leg. Somebody else that day decides to go to work, right? And does. And somebody else decides to stay home and have cocoa by the fire and read a book. 3 people, same circumstance, same town, same opportunity, each hearing whatever they listen to make the decision they make. One goes to work, one, I'm sure there are a multitude. And what Chopra was saying about probability amplitudes is within this quantum field or within this infinite substance, we're like transmitters in accord with our current understanding, the way in which we're bringing forth, the way in which we're harvesting form in our lives. That we're a transmitter as well as a co-creator in these experiences. And 3 people could have stayed in the house, and he could have tripped over the dog instead of out in the snow with a snowblower and a broken leg. He could have tripped over the dog and broken his leg. I don't know. I don't know about outcomes, really. I only know that guidance for us is as near and indissolubly woven into every aspect of our being and our life as we could ever possibly imagine. We are breathing and living in this creative substance and energy at all times. One man writes about, in the book I was reviewing last night, writes about having had 20-year bone cancer and the pain of that, but he wouldn't stop running. Can you imagine 20 years of bone cancer still running? So he's out for a run one day. It just hurts to talk about it, doesn't it? I read it. It didn't hurt that much on the page, but now I feel it. And all of a sudden, there is this pulsating light coming through his body and into that leg. Didn't ask for it, didn't beg for it, didn't pray for it. It just totally filled his body, this undulating light. And he let it. And he said he never told anybody but his wife. But what he knew was he could feel that at the deepest place in his body that he could reach with his mind, it had instantaneously corrected him. Didn't pray for it, didn't beg for it, wasn't on his knees, wasn't in bed, wasn't being but he had suffered all those years with severe depression and all kinds of things. All of a sudden, here is this light force. It didn't come from out there. Jesus wasn't standing in front of him. Your faith has made you well. No. It was the internal process of allowing and not even allowing, just experiencing the miraculous ways in which we are wired of substance, pure substance, and light and life that reveal to us all the time that we are divine creations, born out of heaven and earth, born out of the realms of pure possibility and infinite experience. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. What do I remember about my first experiences of intuition? Oh my God. It was like, before I could think it, it would be done. Before I could imagine, it would be accomplished. And that's how it is for us. Can't allow ourselves to let go of that wonder, that beauty, that magic. Feel it. You have to feel it. And then the gratitude that goes with it. So that's it for today, my friends. And I was thinking that if you wanted to read the book that I started with, but now I'm 4 books down the line from that one. Well, I love Eric Butterworth, but it just got like that whole thing about love and light last week. That was just too much for me. I backed right out of it. I can't even explain it now. It was too weird. I was too weird. I was a little weird last week. I'm even more weird now. I spent a day going to my mother's and coming back the next day. We're doing a kind of trip like that. It's like woohoo. That'll show you where you are in your mind. So yeah. So I moved away from living the creative life, Butterworth's, because I started reading it last night, and all of a sudden I was reading this book called Extraordinary Knowing by a woman named Elizabeth Mayer, and I thought, oh, this is way more fun. Yeah. Way more fun. Yeah, Elizabeth Mayer, Extraordinary Knowing. And it's filled with stories. She's like a psychologist or a college professor or psychologist or I don't remember what. But she tells all of these stories about individuals who have these amazing, intuitive, extraordinary moments in their life. And it's fun to go back and read something like that from somebody else. Because we do it, but we kind of take it for granted sometimes. And you go back and you listen to people who have the experience for the first time, and it just lights you up. So anyway, Butterworth got put aside, and Extraordinary Knowing showed up, and I was happy about that. So, and I got to let you go, and I could tell you more stuff. You want to know? Let us go. We came here voluntarily, now we're imprisoned. Yeah. I'm so grateful for you. I'm driving to Oregon thinking I'm the luckiest person on the planet. I love being here with you. I just love it, and I love that we can be in the room together, and I love that I can be with you in Santa Barbara and wherever else you are this morning. I just love this work. I love spirit. I love delving. I love exploring. I love lighting up. I prayed for a friend of ours in South Africa the other day, and all of a sudden I was in bliss, and I thought, isn't it just amazing to live life from a perspective that, you're thinking about somebody deep in your heart and sending them love, and all of a sudden you're in bliss, or you don't really know what to do, and then you do whatever comes to you, and that's the doorway to something extraordinary, and you think, wow, that's powerful. I should do that more often. and then we get afraid and we shut down again. But anyway, enough of all that from me. Love offerings. During the months that we couldn't have people in the sanctuary, we, you kept giving. People online, whoever was at home, you kept giving. You kept creating the opportunity that we could be here, and be here in a way that meant something, and supported the work. And now, here you are in the room and online, doing the same thing. You keep bringing generosity into this place. And as I was sitting there this morning, it felt so light in here, and so blessed. And I'm really happy that we can share that together, person to person, heart to heart. So thank you for your ongoing generosity and all the ways you give. We say on our Sunday, as we bless the offering, I give joyfully and easily, for God is my source, and abundance is my nature. It's true. And the plate is by the door. And of course, you can always give online, or you can send your gifts through the mail. Whatever works for you works for us, and we're so grateful. Prayer for protection. Which version shall we use? Me, you, us, we. I mean, there are so many variations on the theme. So let's go for us this morning. All right. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. See you soon. Have a great week.